Hello and welcome back to Let Aphotic Zones. My name is Joe, aka the Madam Solar Babe, and today we're going to be doing my signature peace spell. I call this my signature peace spell because some of the elements that I personally use are not found in your traditional peace spells. But nevertheless, it is just as effective, if not more, because of how I tailor it. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video.
So the first thing that you want to get for this spell is rice water. So the rice water is going to symbolize peace and harmony, and it also has an energy of purity and cleansing elements as well. So all of those elements would be good for extracting any and all things that are disturbing our peace, be it inside our bodies, in our energetic field, or in our world, as well as just reinforcing and instilling peace. So you're going to take whatever rice is most available to you, whether you have regular white rice or jasmine rice or even brown rice, if that's all you have. You're going to put it in a pot, depending on whatever amount you want to use. You can put some of the rice in the jar if you'd like, and some of it naturally came in, as you be able to see here in the video, which is perfectly fine because rice water and rice, they have the same elements as far as spiritual properties. Rice could be used for other things, but we're talking about using it for peace in this video. So put some rice in a pot, fill it up with water, about 2 to 3 cups of more water than cups of rice. What you're going to do, bring that to a boil on medium to high heat. Once it has come to a boil and you can see that you have that whitish consistency in the water from the rice, and the rice has fully cooked, you're going to take the rice off the stove, let the pot cool down a little bit, and then you're going to take the rice water and pour it into your jar. And I also just want to add, before I get into the next elements, please make sure that you cleanse the materials that you're using. If you don't have sage, if you don't have a lighter or anything like that, you're perfectly okay to just use water and or your intention alone. But do make sure you cleanse what you're going to be using for the spell. Okay, so after we've added the rice water and or some of the rice, if you'd like, we're going to add coconut milk. Now you can use the more liquid version of the coconut milk, or you can use what I have here in the video that comes out as a more cream, thick consistency. So you're just going to take a spoon to scoop that out if you're using that kind, and then you're going to put that in the jar. Once you get it in the jar, make sure you stir it around so that it combines well with the rice water. And since I cannot put the coconut or the rice water in my hands to charge it, just make sure that you are energetically charging it as you pour it into the jar. Next, I have here some great northern beans, and these are specifically going to be used with the intention to protect peace. I knew that they could be used for something, but I didn't know what, so I asked my Madalas, I said, what do you all think this could be used for? And one of the things that they said was protection of peace. So that's what we're using it for in this conjure here today, and as you see, I am just going to be charging this, and that's what I'm going to do with all of the elements I'm going to put into this jar, as you should as well. Also, excuse the water on my shirt. I had went to go rinse something out, and a little bit of it got on my shirt, so just excuse that. Next, we're going to be using some garlic skins. I took some garlic skins, and I took the core bottom part of the garlic because something about that was just significant to me. You know, like I feel like the part of the garlic that holds up all of the garlic cloves and that all of the garlic cloves are attached to is very important on a alchemical level. So I took that part. You can do that as well if you'd like. You don't necessarily have to. And you can also use a whole garlic, but I specifically wanted to use the garlic skins because they're the outer shell of the garlic. They are what protects the part of the garlic that we eat, and they happen to be white. So that's why I chose to use the garlic skins. So I am going to be charging those, and then we'll just put those into the jar. And they specifically have the purpose of divinely defending and protecting our peace holistically. So that's internal and external peace, mind, body, and soul peace, as well as peace within our earthly lives. Next, I'm going to be charging and adding coconut shreds as well. These serve the purpose of instilling peace as well as protecting peace. Next, I'll be adding salt, which is an element good for peace as well. I suggest using sea salt. I only had table salt here, but the reason why I suggest using sea salt is a salt spiritually most relative to divine feminine energy more than any other salt because it comes from the sea, and the sea is an element of water, again, divine feminine energy. And one of the aspects of that is peace and internal fluidity, internal harmony, internal groundedness. So if you have access to sea salt, please use that instead, but again, I'm big on use what you have. Next, I'm going to be using some imitation vanilla. Now, this is another one where I suggest using something better, which would be pure vanilla. And that's just because, it's as closest to the real thing as possible. Vanilla is associated with peace and harmony as well, and that's why I'm going to be adding it to the jar. If you only have imitation like I did here, you can use that as well. It's all about the essence of what you're using and your intention. Next, I'm going to be using cane sugar. It's one of the more pure and organic sugars. That's why I specifically like cane sugar. Again, essence is important, but you do want to refrain from using artificial things as much as you can just to get the mostest of the spell. But the reason why I'm using cane sugar here is because with it being sweet, it will harmonize some of the things in my life, whether it be something I'm consciously aware of or something that's more so tucked in the corner or, something that's just not as obvious. That is sour or unsweet or not, in favor of me. And the thing that I like about organic cane sugar is that I could take a granule of it or I could take a spoonful of it, and it's not an overwhelming or unbalanced sweet like some of the other sugars are. And that's why I felt like it was a very balanced thing to do for me to add that specific type of sugar. So if you have cane sugar, it would be great to use that. If not, you can use whatever other sugars are available to you. Next, I'm going to be using some anise seed. And the reason why I'm using the anise seed is because anise seed, it can help aid in self-love and self-discovery. And you may be wondering what that has to do with peace. And what it has to do is a lot of the times when we haven't divinely married aspects of ourselves that are foreign to us, that we're meant to integrate in this lifetime. When we haven't fallen in love with aspects of ourselves, known and unknown, we tend to lack harmony and peace within our lives. Like, for example, before I came into union with my divine partner, there was this sense of peace that I was lacking, that I subconsciously knew that I was lacking, but I didn't know what that was until I met him. That's just an example, but that can manifest as anything. That can manifest as a job. That can manifest as something more internal, like having a different perspective of yourself after having gained some information about your soul, etc., etc. So this is why the anise seed will definitely help benefit and boost this spell. If you specifically know what that thing is that you need to come to terms with within your self-love, or what you may want to discover about yourself or have confirmed or denied about who you are as a person, because it is disturbing the peace in your world in one way or another, you can charge the anise seed with that. But I do suggest being general because your guides know what you need more than you know what you need. Your guides see areas of yourself that you could have never imagined. So don't limit yourself to what you know, because you don't know that much at all. Being general allows them to, it makes it so that you're receptive to all possibilities and not just the one that's most familiar to you when you're doing conjure and spell work. But you don't want to be too general as well. So just make sure that you're being balanced when you're writing things out, when you're scripting things out, and when you're charging it with a certain intention. Next, I'm going to be using mustard. You can use mustard seeds if you have those. If you don't have access to any of those and you really want that element and essence of mustard, you can use just some regular condiment mustard. But I do suggest, again, using as close to the natural thing as possible. But your intention is the meat of your conjure, so don't get too caught up in what you do and don't have. But we're going to be using mustard here and charging it with the intention to amplify and strengthen our faith. And the reason why faith is important in this spell is because the opposite of faith, in my opinion, is fear. And when you're in fear, it causes you to not be at peace with yourself and with your external affairs. So that is why we're going to be using peace in this conjure today, because a peaceful mind is a peaceful home, is a peaceful job, is a peaceful relationship, is a peaceful, etc., etc. So next, I'm going to be using black pepper. This is just for an added element of protection. Next, I'm going to be using chia seeds. Chia in the Mayan language means strength, and that is one of the elements of chia seeds. So this is going to be used to strengthen our peace and strengthen our will so that we don't do things to disturb our own peace. Also, do be careful about the amount of the ingredients that you use. My guides have stopped me from time to time throughout this video and in general throughout my conjure career when I got too risk happy and added too much of whatever herb or element I was using. So if you're not able to hear your guides or you don't have that type of direct connection with them, just use your intuition, because you don't want to add too much of one element, because the energies will become unbalanced and it will not be a harmonious spell. Okay, so we're going to get into the next part of the spell. This is my favorite part of the spell. So here, as you can see in the video, I have a receipt, a money order receipt, and I have some notebook paper. So you're probably wondering why I have the money order receipt, and this is because this is attached to something earthly that has been disturbing my peace a little bit. So for you, it may be like a car note. For you, it may be a bill to something regarding your business, or something regarding your home, or your phone bill, your light bill, anything like that. It can be a bill, it could be a letter from someone, it can be dealing with school, wherever it applies, right? But you're going to take that bill, that letter, whatever it may be, whatever it's attached to that's disturbing your peace, and you're going to fold that up and put it in the peace jar, specifically with the intention for peace to be instilled in that area of your life. For any and all things in that area of your life that is not bringing you peace, that's disturbing your peace, to be removed. So once you do that, you're going to take a piece of petition paper. You're going to write your name down 11 times. Now, if there is another number that you feel like is associated with peace, a number that brings you peace, a number for you that confirms you're in peace and divine alignment, use that number. But the reason why I specifically chose the number 11 is because 11 represents harmony, peace, and balance. So I felt like it was a good number to use in this spell. But if you like, you're going to write your name 11 times. Put your name and your date of birth next to each other. Write 11 times. Then around the paper, you're going to write what you want to, the peace that you want to bring in. So here's an example of some of the things I wrote on the paper. You won't be able to see it because I kind of will be blurring that part of things out, because I don't really want my information to be revealed like that. But some of the things I wrote around the petition part that has my name and date of birth is, I have been recompensed of any and all divine and deserved peace that was once removed from my life. I am no longer at war with aspects of myself that I deserve to divinely love. I have obtained peace from the amplification of my divine self-love. I am at divine peace with the abusers and karmics from my past. And the reason why I emphasize the words divine and high vibrational in this spell is because demonic low vibe peace is a thing. And if we're not self-aware, which because we're humans and not robots, we will be from time to time, we will mistake things that are not divine for being peaceful. So when I'm writing these scripts, I always make sure I add divine and high vibe, although intention is important as well. So those were just some examples, but feel free to tailor it as you'd like to. I ended up writing much more than that, so definitely do what resonates most for you specifically. I'm just going to put this in the jar, as you can see. Then next, I'm going to tear out of my notebook a sheet of paper, and from that sheet of paper, I'm going to tear off 11 pieces of paper, 11 small pieces. So what I'm going to do with those 11 small pieces of paper is on each of them, I'm going to write an affirmation for myself pertaining to peace. So one of those affirmations, actually, let me look at the video and see, so I can give you all an accurate description. So one of the pieces of paper I wrote was, I am high vibrationally at peace with all things that I cannot control. So that's just an example. And you can take it from there, or you can start at wherever you like to start. Yours can start with, I am at peace with the fact that my cousin is going to be a little piece of shit. Like, yours can start wherever you want it to start. But just make sure you're being genuine. Make sure you're coming from a pure place and not a lackadaisical or flippant place, because your spell will likely manifest chaotically from that. We're not always going to be doing certain spells in a good space. Sometimes you're going to do a peace spell and you're going to feel very chaotic within your being. Sometimes you're going to do certain spells while you're under spiritual attack. Sometimes you're going to have to do certain spells while you're not feeling good or while you're in pain, right? But it's all about your regard for the spell. It doesn't matter how you're feeling internally. You can be emotional or you can be in physical pain. But if you have a serious and committed regard to the spell and the intentions of the spell, it will manifest divinely. But what I was referring to was like, just doing the shit to bullshit or just to play around. Because there are some people who do spells like that. And then they have to fuck around and find out the hard way that conjure spell work is not something to play with. So yes, that's what I meant. And that's why I wanted to clarify, because the example kind of sounded, kind of playful, but that wasn't my intention. Now, that was the last part of the spell. Once you're done, you're going to shake it up. Shake it up with the intention to instill peace, to remove anything from your life that is disturbing your peace, etc., etc. You can pray over it one last time, as you see me doing here in the video. And you can add a candle. Put the candle on top of the jar, sit with the candle, use the flame to activate the jar even further and, amplify the intentions of the jar. If you don't have a candle, I forgot to get lighters and candles, so I don't have it here today. But if you forgot that, you can just leave the jar as is. Your intention alone is enough, okay? That concludes the spell. You can also dress the candles if you do have candles. You can dress them with certain herbs, and that would go good with this. The jar, the spell. But that concludes the spell. I hope you all enjoyed. I really enjoyed creating this spell for you all. Please be sure to share, comment, like if you'd like, and subscribe. Peace.